Ever felt the thrill of unboxing that perfect collectible, only to wonder what lurks beneath the shiny surface? Beyond the vibrant colors and adorable faces of figures like Labubu, there's a hidden world of obsession, speculation, and even ethical dilemmas. Are your prized possessions truly innocent, or are you part of a darker game? This is a Pop Mart store in Singapore. The queue stretches around the block. It's 6 a.m. on a Thursday morning. These aren't tourists or casual shoppers. These are collectors, hunters, addicts. They're here for one thing, the latest Labubu drop. Watch closely. The doors open. Within minutes, shelves are stripped bare. Limited edition figures that cost $12 retail are already listed online for $200. By evening, they'll hit $500. By next week, some will reach 4 figures. But what if I told you that this frenzy, this manufactured desperation, is just the surface of something far more troubling? Meet Sarah Chen. She's an investigative journalist, and for the past 8 months, she has been tracking the hidden networks behind the collectibles industry. What she discovered will change how you see every figure on your shelf. This isn't just about toys. This is about exploitation, environmental destruction, and a system designed to transform passion into profit at any cost. Chapter 1. The Anatomy of Addiction. They operate like drug dealers. They create scarcity. They trigger FOMO. They hook you with the first hit, then keep you coming back for more. Meet Dr. Anna Lemke. She's a psychiatrist at Stanford University and an expert on behavioral addiction. The collectibles industry has essentially gamified consumption. Every blind box is a slot machine. Every limited release is a dopamine trigger. They've weaponized our brain chemistry. The numbers don't lie. Pop Mart, the company behind Labubu, went from a struggling toy retailer to a $7 billion empire in just 5 years. Their secret? Understanding that they're not selling toys. They're selling the neurochemical high of acquisition. I spent 3 weeks following collectors through their daily routines. What I witnessed was disturbing. This is Marcus. He's 28, works in finance, and owns over 3,000 collectible figures. His monthly spending on collectibles exceeds his rent. I know it's crazy, but I can't stop. Every new release feels like life or death. If I don't get it, someone else will. And then it's gone forever. Marcus shows me his credit card statements. $47,000 in debt, all from collectibles. My girlfriend left me last month. She said I loved my figures more than her. Maybe she was right. Dr. Lemke explains the psychology behind this behavior. We've created a generation that derives self-worth from acquisition rather than achievement. The temporary satisfaction of obtaining a rare collectible becomes more appealing than the sustained effort required for genuine accomplishment. But Marcus isn't alone. Online forums reveal thousands of similar stories. Relationships destroyed, savings depleted, mental health deteriorating, all in pursuit of plastic figures that most people have never heard of. The industry knows exactly what it's doing. Chapter 2. The Manufacturing Machine. To understand the true cost of your collectibles, we need to trace them back to their origin. That journey leads us here, Dongguan, China. This industrial city produces roughly 60% of the world's plastic toys and collectibles. I couldn't film inside the factories. No Western journalist has been granted that access in over 2 years. But I spoke with former workers who painted a disturbing picture. This is Li Wei. He worked at a Pop Mart supplier for 18 months before fleeing to Hong Kong. The conditions were horrible. 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week during peak season. The chemicals from the plastic molding gave me headaches every day. Many workers developed respiratory problems. Lee shows me photos he secretly took inside the facility. Rows of workers, mostly young women, hunched over assembly lines. No protective equipment visible. Poor ventilation, harsh fluorescent lighting. They told us we were making art toys for children around the world. But we were treated like machines ourselves. The environmental impact is equally devastating. Dr. Michelle Zhang is an environmental scientist who studied the plastic toy industry for over a decade. A single Labubu figure requires approximately 47 grams of petroleum-based plastic. Factor in packaging, shipping materials, and transportation, and the carbon footprint becomes enormous. We're talking about hundreds of millions of units annually. But the environmental cost goes beyond production. I visited a landfill outside Manila, where containers full of damaged and unsold collectibles are dumped monthly. These figures are designed to be temporary obsessions, explains Dr. Zhang. The average collectible trend lasts 18 months. After that, they become worthless plastic waste. The human and environmental costs are staggering. But for the companies profiting from this system, they're simply externalities. Chapter 3. The Shadow Economy. While you're desperately refreshing websites, hoping to buy a single figure at retail price, sophisticated networks are already securing hundreds of units for resale. This is the shadow economy of collectibles, and it's worth billions. I gained access to one of these operations through a whistleblower who agreed to speak on condition of anonymity. Call me Alex. I used to run bots for collectible drops. We had servers in 12 countries, fake identities in 6 states, and could secure 90% of any limited release within minutes. Alex shows me the operation. Banks of computers running automated purchasing scripts, fake addresses, stolen credit card numbers, professional scalping at an industrial scale. We weren't the biggest players either. The real operations are run by organized crime syndicates. They've got inside connections, advanced information, and resources that make our setup look amateur. The impact on genuine collectors is devastating. Sarah Kim is a longtime fan who's watched her hobby transform into something unrecognizable. I used to collect because I loved the artistry. Now I can't afford anything in my own collection. The pieces I bought for $20 5 years ago are selling for $2,000. I've been priced out of my own passion. But the scalping problem pales in comparison to counterfeiting. I traveled to Shenzhen, known as the world's electronics manufacturing capital, where an entire district produces fake collectibles. The counterfeits are sophisticated. Side by side, even experts struggle to distinguish authentic pieces from fakes. The implications extend beyond frustrated collectors. When someone buys a counterfeit thinking it's authentic, they're not just losing money, explains intellectual property lawyer David Chang. They're supporting networks that often involve human trafficking, money laundering, and other serious crimes. The artists who created the original designs receive nothing from these counterfeits. Their intellectual property is stolen, mass-produced, and sold to unsuspecting collectors worldwide. Chapter 4. The Human Cost. Behind every collectible figure is an artist, someone who poured creativity, passion, and talent into bringing these characters to life. But in the current system, artists are often the biggest losers. This is Hiroshi Nakamura. He designed the character that would become one of Pop Mart's most successful lines. He shows me his original sketches, dating back to 2018. I was young, desperate for recognition. When Pop Mart offered to license my design, I was thrilled. I didn't understand the contract. I didn't have a lawyer. Hiroshi signed away his rights for a flat fee of $5,000. His character has since generated over $100 million in revenue. I receive nothing from ongoing sales, no royalties, no recognition. They own everything now. His story is repeated across the industry. Young artists, eager for exposure, sign exploitative contracts that leave them with no ongoing stake in their creations. But the human cost extends beyond individual artists. Dr. Rebecca Torres studies the psychological impact of consumer culture on children and adolescents. We're teaching young people that happiness comes from acquisition, that self-worth is measured in possessions. The long-term psychological effects are only beginning to be understood. I visited schools in 3 countries, where collectible trading has become a source of bullying and social stratification. Children as young as 6 understand the hierarchy of rare versus common figures. Those without collections are excluded. Those with valuable pieces become targets for theft. My son was robbed at school for his limited edition figure. One parent tells me, he's 8 years old. He shouldn't have to worry about carrying hundreds of dollars worth of toys to school. The industry has created a culture where material possessions define social status from an increasingly young age. Chapter 5. The Resistance. But not everyone has accepted this system. Around the world, artists, collectors, and activists are fighting back. This is Maya Patel, an independent artist who's built a following, creating handmade figures that challenge the mass production model. Every piece I make is unique. I know the buyer. I use sustainable materials. I pay fair wages to everyone involved in the process. Maya's figures cost more than mass-produced alternatives, but her collectors understand they're buying art, not commodities. My customers aren't looking for investment pieces or status symbols. They're supporting independent creativity. In Tokyo, I met with the founders of Conscious Collecting, a movement promoting ethical practices in the collectibles industry. We believe collecting can be positive, explains founder Kenji Sasaki, but only if we're mindful about what we buy, why we buy it, and who benefits from our purchases. The movement has created guidelines for ethical collecting, research company practices, support independent artists, buy for joy, not investment, quality over quantity, transparency over hype. But perhaps the most powerful resistance comes from former industry insiders speaking out. This is Jennifer Walsh. She worked in marketing for a major collectibles company for 6 years before quitting in disgust. We had meetings where executives literally called customers whales and discussed how to extract maximum spending from people they knew were addicted. It made me sick. Jennifer now works with addiction recovery groups, helping people break free from compulsive collecting behaviors. The first step is recognizing that this is designed to be addictive. You're not weak for falling into the trap. You're responding normally to a system engineered to exploit human psychology. Chapter 6. The Reckoning. The collectibles industry is at a crossroads. Public awareness is growing. Regulatory scrutiny is increasing. Environmental concerns are mounting. The current model is unsustainable. In the European Union, new legislation requires companies to disclose the environmental impact of their products. Several major retailers have stopped selling blind box collectibles, citing concerns about gambling like mechanics. China, the manufacturing hub for most collectibles, is implementing stricter labor and environmental standards. Factories that don't comply face closure. But the most significant change may come from collectors themselves. Online communities that once celebrated rare finds are now questioning the ethics of their purchases. Forums dedicated to trading are becoming spaces for discussing conscious collecting. I used to measure my worth by my collection, says reformed collector David Park. Now I measure it by the positive impact I can make. I sold 80% of my figures and donated the money to charity. I kept only the pieces that truly bring me joy. The shift is gradual but noticeable. Sales of mass-produced collectibles have declined in several major markets, while demand for ethically produced alternatives is growing. Closing. Your collection tells a story. The question is, whose story do you want it to tell? Will it be the story of exploitation, addiction, and environmental destruction? Or will it be the story of conscious choice, artistic appreciation, and positive impact? The figures on your shelf are more than plastic. They're symbols of the values you support with your wallet. Every purchase is a vote. Every collection is a statement. Every collector has the power to demand better. The industry will only change when we demand change, when we value artists over corporations, when we choose quality over quantity, when we prioritize joy over status. The dark side of collectibles is real, but it doesn't have to define the future of collecting. The choice is yours.